friends, welcome back. Today we're creating this super cute masculine birthday card, but before we do that, I wanted to take a little break and give a big shout out to all of you. A big thank you for sticking with me and allowing me to take some time off over the last couple of months. It's been really great, and I've been able to kind of organize my life and organize my crafting supplies and get ready. So what if there was a place to share and connect with others who really care about paper crafting? I've been trying to align my life, and that's something that I've really been looking for. I earlier had talked about doing a Facebook group, but I'm not a big fan of Facebook, so instead I figured out how to configure my website so you can join my website and basically do all the same things you could do on a Facebook group, but even better. So if you're interested in that and being part of a super awesome community, it's not going to be very big. I mean, like 500 to 1,000 people, but it'll be much more intimate and a really fun group. I'm really excited about this. If you are too, go ahead and click on the link below and join on my website. Anyway, here, we're going to start on the card now. So, this card is for my dad and my grandfather. So I wanted something that was masculine but not overly masculine, just something that looked nice but wasn't super flowery. So I picked out this super cute ruins of a castle stamp. It's designed by Sheena Douglas, but the stamp set is called Serene Beauty, and it's from Creative Stamping, which is a magazine, and so I got this stamp set with the magazine. I'm not sure that this stamp is available anymore, but you can definitely get anything out of your stash that's similar, or I'll try and link below to one or two stamps I think would set in pretty well for this. I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss it because that is one of my favorite techniques of all time, is watercoloring and heat embossing, like together, mixing them together. So we're going to use some Gina K clear or fine detail clear embossing powder, and I'm just pouring that over the Onyx Black VersaFine pigment ink pad that I'd use to stamp that. Then I'm going to take my Wagner heat gun, and this is one you get from Lowe's or Home Depot, and not so much one you'll get online at a paper crafting store or in your regular paper crafting store, but it's just my favorite thing to use because it's shaped like a gun, and so it's so much easier to hold, and I feel so much less like I'm going to drop it and burn myself. Then I got out the Silver Ingot Spectrum Noir metallic ink pot and Sterling Silver Spectrum Noir sparkle ink pot. So the sparkle one has sparkles and it's transparent. The metallic one is opaque and it's very metallic. So I like both of them. I went ahead and put the sparkle down, the sterling silver down first. It's a very minimal sparkle content, but I wanted the castle to kind of be the focal point, so that's why I used both the sparkle and the metallic. For the metallic, I used that very sparingly and just did it kind of at the bottom and flicked it up a little bit. It will cover the embossing powder, so you just have to be careful with that. Then I'm going to take these 3 Distress Oxide colors, peeled paint, crushed olives, and frayed burlap, and I'm just putting this on some extra plastic packaging that I had laying around. I'm trying out a new black mat to cover my desk. I haven't made a decision if I like it or don't like it yet, so I don't want to tell you what it is because I don't have an opinion about it, but I'm trying it out, and as soon as I do form an opinion about it, I'll let you know. But I didn't feel I needed something white to put this on, so I just had some extra packaging and it was perfect. So I just smushed it on there, and now I'm using my Caran d'Ache watercolor brush, or water brush, which is my favorite water brush. It works so much better than all the other water brushes I've tried. Anyway, I'm taking that and I'm just squishing it on. I don't actually have a whole lot of water in the water brush at this point because I was a little lazy and didn't feel like getting up and putting more water in it. So I'm just using my spray bottle to add a little bit of water when needed to the paint palette. I went ahead first with the lightest green color and kind of added in where I wanted the highlights. Then I'm going in with the darker green and adding that into where I want the shading. It's still wet, the light is still wet, so it blends together pretty well. Then I'm taking that brown and just adding it a few places, especially along the path. And when I put that in, I dragged the path out a little bit further. I wasn't sure how big I was going to cut this. I ended up cutting it pretty small, but just in case I wanted that to kind of fade out. So next I took some Mermaid Lagoon in Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink as well, and I'm just painting in a sky. Here I'm going wet onto dry paper. In the next example, which I did a QuickTime video of, you'll see that I actually did wet onto wet, which is what I would suggest when you're doing a sky like this. Basically, when you're trying to do this and paint clouds into a blue sky, you're basically painting in negative. So you're painting the dark space and you're leaving the light space open. And so it's a little bit different than how you paint everything else. You just have to kind of make it organic. I also find that clouds are kind of striated. So the top clouds are going to be bigger than the clouds closer to the horizon line. And you're just going to kind of want to go natural. You'll see in the places that I have darker color, or where I have color, in the centers of those I'll add darker color. So it's kind of graduating the color from white to blue in organic-y shapes. Then I am trying to make sure that the edges aren't harsh because I did this dry onto wet. Here I'm doing the second one where I just sprayed the whole card with my spritzer, and that's from Master Touch, which I believe is a Hobby Lobby brand because I've only ever seen it at Hobby Lobby. The spritzer from Master Touch is amazing, and it's by far the best water spritzer out there. So if you can, go ahead and get that. Now I'm taking this, let me look, double stitch polygons from Honeybee Stamps. It's a really cool die set that has stitch lines on both the inside and the outside of this polygon. And I took the second size in, so it's the second largest in this set, and it fit perfectly around this image. And so I went ahead and cut it out. Then I have a really cool setup for I stamped and die cut all my dies and put them into a catalog, which I'll create a video for soon. I'm still kind of picking it out, but it's been amazing, and it makes it really easy to find different things. Like, I knew this stamp right here, this happiest birthday wishes to you or whatever stamp, that is from the Sketched Flowers by Simon Says stamp set, which is one of my all-time favorite stamp sets. it fit perfectly in this little die cut. Well, this die cut is kind of like a negative space from another die cut, but it's perfect. And I went ahead and added it into my catalog when I was looking for a label shape to use for this stamp. This one fit perfectly, and I was able to just find it really quickly in my catalog. So that was really cool. The catalog, while it took a few months to do, was totally worth it. And so I'm stamping and embossing that stamp, the sentiment stamp, in the exact same way that we did at the very beginning of this video. The only difference is that I'm using just regular Nina 80-pound cardstock for this instead of the watercolor cardstock, just because it's easier to stamp on, especially with intricate stamps like this. I am using my tweezers because the heat gun gets really hot and I didn't want to burn my fingers, which has happened before. So I love including this because this is one of my favorite things. Like I said earlier, it's my favorite technique, but seeing the embossing powder. Now, using an A2 size card, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, there just wasn't enough space on the front for both that picture and the die cut. So I ended up putting the die cut on the sentiment on the inside of the card, but I think it still looks really cute. So after running through the die cut machine, my Gemini from Crafter's Companion machine, just to flatten out that paper, I'm taking this really cute romantic script background from My Favorite Things, and I'm going to emboss that using some clear Versamark embossing ink and the Wow Gold Pearl embossing powder, and just emboss the whole background of this card. Now I'm using 110-pound cardstock from Nina Solar White for the base of the cardstock, and I'm just stamping and embossing that on the base. So I did take my time and really push and make sure that I got a good impression. If you weren't sure you were going to do it well, you could always just cut a square of that down, and you could even do the 80-pound cardstock and then just put it on top of your card base. But I was able to get a pretty good impression for both of the two cards that I made, so it was fine. Here you don't see as much just because of the angle, but when you're embossing, you just have to see when the embossing powder changes from powdery to actually being glossy. That's how I can tell, and it just looks so cool. Then I'm using some liquid adhesive, and I'm using a new adhesive because the old adhesive that I was using I really liked, but it was just really expensive. So I'm trying something new, and so far I have really positive feelings about it, but I'll give you more update on that in a little bit. Finally, putting the white cardstock die cut onto the white cardstock base just I wasn't feeling it. It didn't really stand out. So I decided to take some of this Enchanted Gold Cosmic Shimmer Metallic Gilding Polish, which is a mouthful, and just do a light coat over this little die cut. And it really does enhance the piece quite a bit, because then it doesn't look like a weird white on white die cut. So there we go. I'm just going to glue that down, and that's going to end up everything I did with this card. If you were doing it for a lady, you could definitely put some diamonds and jewels on the front, but since it was just it's for a man card, I kept it a little bit more simple, which I really like because it kind of reminds me of my dad and my grandfather, because they're both kind of calm, still people, So I liked that it was fresh but still masculine. I don't think that masculine means it has to be rugged and dirty. Just personal opinion. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I have a lot of really cool videos coming up. Remember to go ahead and join on my website so you can be a part of this awesome community that I'm trying to create, and you can be an awesome part of that. Anyway, here's some other videos you may also be interested in. If you haven't subscribed and you're interested in keeping up with everything, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and have an amazing, wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.